Well, hello there, viewers, or should I say listeners here. This is a commentary track for the film Prometheus from director Ridley Scott, starring Noomi Rapace, am I saying that wrong? And probably some other people. My name's Von Fry. I'm probably the most detested film critic on YouTube. I have a bachelor's in film from the University of Kansas, worked with a future Academy Award winner, and I have thoughts on Prometheus. Before we get into that, and this is intended for you to be watching along on Amazon Prime Video, so go ahead and queue up to 0000, but I want to mention, did I say 4 zeros there? CalderaLab.com, the finest skincare in this solar system. I'm trying to tie it into the movie over there. Where does it come from? It's is it skincare that there's some giant albino guy who gets broken down in molecules, and they make this fine stuff called the good. You put it on your face at night and you look younger. People cannot guess my age. Use my promo code FRY15, save 15% off at checkout. So, Prometheus 0000. By the way, I don't like this movie. You probably don't either. So, let's go ahead and watch the fail together. Hit play now. A little bit of hiccup there as it kind of gave it a tiny little pinwheel. So we kick into the old familiar 20th Century Fox fanfare. Yes, we removed the Fox. It's now just 20th Century. Makes me moan every time I see that in some kind of thing. I don't know why this movie is still on Prime. Drinking a rock star. I have a history of getting these all over my hands. Okay, so we saw Dune production there. And then this Scott Free is really confusing. The Scott Free production logo, you probably know you're in trouble okay, so that's the older one actually, but there are Ridley Scott films that start without saying Scott Free. It shows that animation, and then it shows a bird. Do I have to get Rockstar on my hands every time I pop a can open? It just shows the bird, and you're supposed to know what the production company's called. I don't see how. Michael Fassbender, Guy Pearce, in a role he didn't need. I think this was the first film to give you immense trailer hype and then fail at it. And I should have already known better, but I didn't. And I don't think most of us did either, but what you come to here is you get the music, you get the pacing, the same style of editing as the original Alien trailer. Probably the best trailer ever made. And that was how they promoted Prometheus. And it got you pretty excited for it. And you're thinking, okay, sounds fair enough, right? It's sort of related to Alien. Is it an alien origin story? Is it a prequel? What are we calling this exactly? Damon Lindelof. That right there is the telltale sign of bad writing. And you know what's happening. Walter Hill's mentioned as producer just because of the original film, and yeah. In order to kind of get these things going, you kind of have to write a lot of checks. It's really what it comes down to. But you saw that Alien trailer and you thought, wow, this has got to be good. That was the most anticipated film of 2012 for me to go see. And it was an immense letdown. I had already decided I was going to segue out of reviewing new release films before it was cool. Yeah, 8 years before the trend, guys. I was ahead of the game. It's my understanding there may not be a director's cut, maybe there is, but deleted scenes showing how this guy was given some orders. It looked to me like he was preparing for some ritual here. that this was done willfully, under orders. Maybe he's in some sect, cult, whatever. But then his reaction, are we to believe he's poisoned? That this is a trick? It's my understanding that this was the original, the mountain that rides from Game of Thrones playing this guy here. He was a skinnier guy than they ended up getting, or was he the second one? But he was he's 7 feet plus, but a skinny guy. I'm not talking Doug Jones skinny, but skinnier than that power lifter they ended up picking up. So he falls in, and then right here, we're kind of given all the information we really need. You start to assume that this is the planet Earth. Yeah, super convenient double helix over here. We're now shown everything to piece together. Oh, so this is where life forms come from. This is the aliens come over here, dissolve a guy, and then that's where life happens. Life finds a way. I could have done a better Jeff Goldblum. My apologies. I mean, it really hits a nail on the head when you then cut to excavating what you think may or may not be present day. But hell, humans coming across stuff. Assumedly on Earth. Fair warning, I have not seen Alien Covenant. It is not on any streaming platform I have. How the hell all this stuff doesn't get sequestered to Hulu now that Disney owns the brand and one would think that's what one would do with it? I can't tell you. AMC is prominently featuring Ripley in Aliens in their AMC Plus commercials. I think Alien Covenant was on HBO for a while. I am concerned I could fall asleep during this, so I am taking some sips off the Rockstar. So she has already dated these cave paintings. And it makes you wonder, what use is this guy, right? I don't even know how to directly use the flashlight. I need the woman to help me. In case you didn't realize they're a couple. This movie has a unnecessarily convoluted set of not necessarily subplots, but kind of like a secret structure about it. Like, instead of telling a straightforward story, it's okay, so maybe this stuff does this, but why are these people behaving this way? Oh, well, didn't you know? Well, that guy was really into animals, so that's why he wants to pester the hissing cobra. Like, how do you get lost when you're the guys with the mapping capability? Just it comes about at a time where Hollywood's setting into this tone of, the story doesn't really need to make sense. We can have enough plot holes that we don't need to address ever, as long as we give somebody something else to be distracted by. I never understood how the technology of this ship taking place before Alien is so much more superior. Oh, but Vaughn, this is like the richest guy in the world's ship. and we were just looking at space truckers. Space truckers had the same iPhone that Elon Musk would have. Like, at some point, there's going to be a shared relationship on the tech here. I thought the dream sequence was this. I'm just a synthetic walking around, peeking in on people's dreams. How I have that capability, how they checked off on doing this, and that it never really comes around. We don't revisit the dream hologram shit to get anything from it. Oh, but we just learned that she chooses to believe in religion stuff, this Dr. Shaw, because her dad. The whole point of that. Part of the promotional mix for this, you had this David android kind of being shown off, and you had a non-up-aged Guy Pearce, being like the inventor of this, giving his bit of a TED Talk, giving a bit of that Apple event. Oh, we see how amazing it. Now you can see that's a CGI basketball, but you could wow some people at far from this. Yep, none of this tech makes any sense when it should be looking rather 1970s. Let's try to fit in with the way things looked in Alien, right? I think a lot of us are really disappointed that they don't land on the same planet from Alien. That they somehow set into motion a conclusion with the ship that has the space jockey, all this stuff, and yet we're not going to say it's the same thing, so then why are we watching this? Synthetics got to keep busy, huh? Do synthetics in Alien... I never really quite understood this, but... is it possible, as we have Ridley Scott behind Blade Runner and Alien, that his concept of the synthetic is the same between the two films? I guess it can't be, because we could clearly tell Ash's innards are not the same as humans. So you wouldn't need something as convoluted as the Voight-Comp test. But then, are things retconned? Yeah, let's have a kind of 70s-looking ship with immense future tech in it. That won't clash at all. Arriving our destination, eh? Better wake him up from the old freezerinos. If you're out that long, years, do you have multiple dreams, or is it one big dream? Charlize Theron. Have we decided how to pronounce that? About everybody in this movie is mishandled in some way. I can't understand why they thought Noomi Rapace needed to be the lead in this. Charlize Theron already had I mean, she was a name. She was already got an Oscar. Idris Elba, who, when I was reviewing new release films, had the highest frequency of showing up in them. Not a big role for him either. It's really confusing. I don't think that with American audiences, the girl with the dragon tattoo got over that well, or was particularly well known. And at least not until the remake. So we're going to get some variation on the kind of familiar scenes here. You get unfrozen, you eat a meal, right? Idris Elba here is representing all the blue collar at once. Obviously, this guy's saying that he's not here to be his friend, blah, blah. They're going to end up kind of being a pair to their demise. This guy here, I don't even know who this actor's name is, but Dr. Shaw's boyfriend, I just absolutely despised every scene he's in, like every second of it. He's incredibly punchable. All right, we need a huge briefing of this mission you guys are clearly already aware of. You've made it this far. Peter Weyland. People are confused about who founded Weyland-Yutani. We briefly have a look at Yutani at the end of Alien vs. Predator Requiem. But there is a bit of confusion where I don't think there needs to be about the Weyland stuff. Was it Charles Weyland? The guy in AVP, you had Lance Henriksen. I'm assuming the company starts with him. This guy could very well be a distant ancestor. And then Bishop is designed to look like the founder. I don't really see why people have to be like, but I thought that Lance Henriksen's character was the founder. It can still be true. Big hologram speech for people who should already be well aware of their whole mission and everything. You know, we kind of did this in Aliens, but it was just a quick little brief before they sat down on the planet, right? Which, come to think about it, there wasn't literally that much urgency in Aliens. They lost contact. And they kind of got up, they had their meal, secured that shit, Hudson, you know, the little speech, right? Then assholes and elbows, we get moving, drop ship. I mean, your local fire department had a little bit more concern, right? All right, we found drawings of stuff that kind of look alike. Okay, we have loosely plausible origin for humankind here. Separated civilizations all pointing to the sky. Oh boy. Well, yeah, who would think that they wouldn't have drawings about things that are out of reach? LV 223. And I think it's 426 or 427. I can't remember if it's Hemi or the Chevy Big Block for the number designation of the Alien and Aliens planet. We call them the engineers because they engineered us. Okay, we could say that these aliens came and visited the humans, but you're kind of jumping to some conclusions that they created humans, not just simply visited. And did she just give that "I choose to believe" line? This is the X-Files. Got a long movie ahead here. All right. You know, this movie's only like 2 hours, and it feels longer than that. Oh, yes, the boss lady of the ship, Miss Vickers. Got to make it quite clear that this is a separate module. That'll come into play. She lives on a lifeboat. Yeah, nice that we're mentioning that. They only made a dozen of these med pods. Were all dozen only designed to work on men? Before I forget this, hitting back on the Blade Runner themes, you have Roy Batty and co. returning to Dr. Tyrell seeking to extend life, right? Here we have the creation returning to the God factor seeking to extend life again, because old man Wayland is aboard the ship, only he's in hiding. Why did this need to be in secret? And nobody knows. I'm telling you, if something has Damon Lindelof, if his name shows up in anything, it is garbage. He will taint whatever formula is going. He will stick his fingers into some known property and screw it up. That's all you need to know from a guy who caps off a 5-year TV show with "It Was All a Dream." They were dead the whole time, and this is just like them realizing it. Garbage. Lots of storms on the planets in the Alien franchise, huh? Now, I think a lot of people like this movie because of the visuals. Look, when a film costs 120 million bucks, it should look pretty good. And I know you can say, but Vaughn, now we're making movies that cost $500 million. Well, I got some news for you. This movie looks better than Avengers Endgame. That doesn't make it better. I don't like either of them. What endearing traits and qualities have we gotten out of the players so far here? So far, you kind of like David. You see, he has interests, right? Super blue collar guy. Idris Elba seems kind of decent. That little of him is going to get touched on after that. I wonder how you could possibly land a ship with such convoluted controls. Yeah, let's just park right in front of their house. Anybody home? Six hours of daylight, but let's get going anyway. Six hours really sounds like plenty for me. I mean, you can go out there, study for a couple hours, bring your stuff back, whatever. More foolhardy bullshit out of Dr. Shaw. This is scientific expedition, no weapons. Okay, well, I could go study some science and get mauled by a bear because I wanted to go find some of these cave paintings. Shouldn't you take some precautions? What are your thoughts on their suits? They look a little comical, don't they? Like, I can see a practical purpose behind having a big glass globe so you can turn your head and look around, but didn't they kind of nail the look of how these should be in the first film? I mean, for a 70s movie, Alien had amazing costumes. Costumes that look quite contemporary still. Kind of see here that this dome area that they pulled up to is quite a bit bigger than it initially appeared. Quite a large crew they have of people we haven't met who are there, I guess, so we can have additional bloodshed moments, right? Most of them, I'm trying to recall how most of them even die. Probably a crash at the end. That probably takes them out. These two buffoons. If you're not watching, I could be talking about anybody in this movie. It's astonishing how we have the continuation of a sci-fi series, kind of horror-like tones, but involving adults. And we start with rather adults' dialogue and situations, and how it's handled devolves into this. And I can only assume that Alien Covenant, it actually goes even further towards adults not behaving like adults. Right, I've got these amazing floating balls. They map the corridors. Oh yeah, this is amazing stuff. We're making a map. Checking it twice, gonna find out who's naughty or nice. Pretty primitive looking architecture, right? Like it just, like they had a big boring machine just come through. What, you say it's breathable? Better take off this helmet. Yeah, in here it's breathable air, but outside not so much. Calls him crazy, then takes off her own helmet. Yep. Oh, the blue collar guy's placing bets on it. The old man wants to talk to Martians, which kind of, yeah, I mean, I think you'd have to pay up. Ultimately, that's what he tries to do. Look at how long they spend thus far walking around in here with as little occurring. But in Alien, it's much quicker. They come across something interesting quick. The egg opens and attacks, right? I think all of that would have been done in the time that we've spent already. I have no idea what this is. You've activated a hologram security footage of the engineers running away from something that somehow didn't get captured in the footage. And these guys are huge, by the way, like 10 feet plus. Let me ask you this, audience. Did we need to see the hologram leading up to the guy who got crushed by the door, or would they have walked over here and could have just naturally found him in their investigation? So this guy freaks out over finding the corpse of an engineer. Immediately wants to go back to the ship. They shouldn't really be that freaked out. I think it's pretty safe to assume that this guy's death was not recent. So whatever threat they were running from, it's probably out of the way. Even the smug way the guy hands over the carbon reader, jeez. Like, this movie must have ended this kid's career, man. Poor guy. I wonder if Michael Fassbender got together with that flat-chested gal from Ex Machina because they both related to playing sort of androids wanting to be more human, right? Oh, look, his head wasn't crushed. It rolled away from the door. We can preserve it. Yeah, it's preserved. We'll take it with us. Yep. What do we have in here? Well, it can't be the eggs. That'd be too convenient. We gotta have something that's not quite an egg. And you see, that's the kind of is like the whole issue with this film is everything can be summed up as may as well be eggs. The thing that comes out of the guy at the end, right? Like, it's not quite a xenomorph. May as well be a xenomorph. Why is it gotta have a pointy head? May as well have just been a regular xenomorph. May as well have been LV-426 with the Hemi. May have been that planet. Why couldn't it have been? I mean, shit, looks like you tried to draw a queen alien over here. This embossed queen alien on the wall. But we don't quite get that. Some kind of goo that's moving around. I may have to take some kind of sample here. Is this the stuff Baldy Albino drank at the beginning of the movie? Caused his whole cell structure to break down so that he could, I don't know, populate a planet somehow, although kind of would seem like your cells would die off without the support of the whole, living organism. But what do I know? I'm not a scientist. I just quit being a movie critic at the time of this movie. And frankly, I would rather, but the shame of it is Alien 3. I did watch Alien 3 when it was on Prime Video. Should have done a commentary track on it. I actually like Alien 3. I find it to be a good movie, just not a good sequel. And that a lot of people want to punish it for wrecking the storyline established really with aliens. We have beloved characters dying off camera at the beginning, right? Largely off camera. The events of their demise. And yeah, I know that there was an Alien Colonial Marine game that Fox says officially retcons it, all it's canon, okay, whatever. But visually it looked good. David Fincher did a hell of a job, I thought. I don't really have too many qualms with that. I thought it was exciting, put enough of a unique spin on things for Ripley and everybody, and it seemed like anything was fair game. Alien Resurrection, I have a lot of issues with. You can see Joss Whedon's fingertips in it, how characters exhibit a kind of Firefly scruff about them. Only you don't spend enough time with them to care about them, and I think that's why Joss Whedon's stuff probably works better in a series. But this movie, forget about saying killing off Hicks and Newt, things like that, ruins the Alien franchise. Going and interfering and trying to give explanation and failing and saying, oh, well, this is what the space jockeys really like. Like, we needed to know. Sometimes it's good to preserve some mystery. Should have been a simple grab and run back inside, and said somehow she gets pushed sideways even though the wind force is coming straight at them. It didn't push her into the cargo bay. I don't know why. When I'm watching this for the first time, I'm not totally out of this movie yet. There were a lot of red flags, a lot of them. The holodreams, the briefing, the boyfriend, little things. The point at which I totally checked out of, okay, so this is actually a bad movie. I mean, and that's where the mindset came in, was with the two doofwads who had the mapping technology got lost in the caverns. David to the rescue. Maybe that she acknowledges David, says thank you, things like this. In some small way, he doesn't want to necessarily use her as the guinea pig. She inadvertently becomes the guinea pig. Then you have to remember, these two doofuses who left early didn't get back. And then, of course, when they're attacked, provoking this cobra that's hissing, totally, you start wondering, what kind of movie is this? Is this a spoof? It's the kind of scene you'd expect in Spaceballs. What do you know? Two guys who got separated from the group. What good things can happen to them? Oh, also this experiment. Hey, we can kind of play. I don't even know how this is science, but it's sort of like, hey, if we found like an elephant head, maybe we can like shock it and make it like convulse and muscle spasm. That'd be cool to watch. What does this teach us? It's not an exoskeleton, it's a helmet. One that's not particularly fashionable. Too heavy for us because we're girls. Is that head to proportion, given how incredibly tall these guys are? Trick the nervous system into thinking it's still alive to get what results out of these cells? Like this, what kind of doctor are you? You look at cave dwellings, now you're doing all this biological stuff. Were you an astronomer? And they're pointing to the sky, like what is her field of expertise? What are we supposed to be getting out of this? Oh, you're making them bleed out of this. You're going to explode them. And there you go. You microwaved them. Way to go, guys. Well, who would have thought it was mortal when its head came off and it appeared to be dead already? Shit. Oh, who's David taking orders from? It's not enough to have a phone call, an Apple Watch, any of that. We gotta put on the full hollow visor Oculus Quest 2. Don't think he'd want me to tell you? So she can throw around David the tough android, right? It makes you wonder, is she supposed to be an android too? Or artificial person? And it's really not of much concern. I suppose she's Guy Pearce's daughter. Could she be calling him dad because she's actually the android replica? It doesn't matter, is the point I'm getting to here. Processing. Oh no, DNA match. It's the same DNA as humans, but that's not possible. Clearly, these things are not the same as human. There would be a difference in the DNA. Yeah, I just kind of brought this thing back on board. I'm going to take a look over here. Magic black goo. What can I do with that? What killed him? Probably the door. Jesus. Little speck. A cloudy little speck. What can I do with that? Put that in his drink, huh? Already had the intention of trying to poison this guy, using him as a guinea pig. What's to say though? I mean, it's a substance. It goes into the stomach, the acids, all this. You don't become what you eat verbatim. You don't eat enough pork and become a pig, or the pigs take over your body. Like, nothing like that happens. You ate that. You defeated it. So why would it affect his system like this? I burned some of my damn popcorn. It's a fine line between popping as much kernels as you can and burning those you popped first. He's going to feel good about poisoning this guy because he's an arrogant dick. I'm glad you said you'd be willing to do anything, okay? Because you're going to be the experiment. You didn't well, he kind of agreed. He said anything. Back to the pair of doofuses. Remember, there's really one guy on the ship who remembers it's Christmas. I actually had a pretty good chance of getting Idris Elba to come to my film festival. There was this submission, I think it was... I mean, he was already pretty well known. It was probably about 2016. It was either 2015, 16, or 17. Probably 16 or 17, but had a film. It's called like 100 Streets or 1,000 Streets or something. I think it's on Prime or somewhere. I saw it come up, and it's not very good. But I was thinking, hey, we could invite that to the festival, but maybe get Idris Elba here and be like, nah, I don't know. I'm like, I think he's kind of a big deal. He's in like every other movie. Then we don't accept it, and he doesn't show up, and then he gets Sexiest Man Alive. And it's kind of like, oh, hey, this is what happens when we don't listen to Vaughn. Idris Elba does a pretty decent American accent, doesn't he? I don't know. Is there any brevity to this? Is there a part of this film where we get a comedic aside, maybe? Like, I just want a quick little, oh, here's a change of pace moment. But instead it's like full bore obnoxious. Yeah, your android buddy David infected me with something made me quite horny tonight. Your engineers abandoned us. Okay, she says their genetic material predates ours, yet it's said that it's a match for human. So how do you come to this conclusion, computer? If their stuff predates us, then it's not exactly human, is it? Otherwise, you wouldn't see a difference. Man, she does not have the face of a movie star. You know who does? Charlize Theron, who happens to be like down the hall. I think most people got a bit of a bait and switch about it, assuming that Charlize Theron would sort of inherit the Ripley role, that she would be the star of the movie. And then she wasn't. Oh, but she gets the last laugh because you go to a Mad Max film that should have been called Furiosa. Yeah, at least this cuts way before we have to see too much of their make-out sesh, although one could say it's integral to the plot. Yeah. It's really important on this trip that I take my squeeze box with me. Oh, he's forward. Well, there goes an ass. Are you a robot? Let me prove to you I'm not a robot. Is that a Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young? Or Crosby, Stills, Nash song, Love the One You're With? Because he did mention Stills there. You want to get laid? Huh, scoff. You know, are you a robot? Okay, fine, I'll show you. So now the film has totally devolved into the tropes of a teen slasher, where it's like, we got two doofuses. One of them, he's got tobacco in his... He essentially set up his spacesuit so that he can smoke inside of it for comedy. Makes you think of some kind of stoner gag. We have everybody else hooking up on the damn ship. And now we got this guy who's going to pester the thing that clearly looks like a cobra, hissing at him. And he's just like, no, I'm curious about animals. I guess there's deleted scenes of such where he finds a small creature that is friendlier on the way into the fortress, before they go down and find all the breathable air, all that stuff, right? And it's like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm so good with animals, and that could possibly get you to think, well, then because he had such success with the cuddly one, he can try his wiles here, but clearly this thing looks like it's being aggressive, and we're pretending that this is supposed to be taken seriously. Broke his arm. I'm not sure any kind of snake has the capability to do that. Does it have acid blood? Yes, it does. Super fast, rejuvenating qualities here. Unintentionally comedic deaths, maybe? Found a little more laughter than it maybe should have. You feel like a new man today? There's something swimming around in my eye. Did I not take my contact lens out? Should I tell somebody? No, I'll keep it a secret. That always works out. So, is this day 2 of our dig? Like, what more could they really find, really? It kind of looks like they've explored this. They got to go pick up these 2. Not finding them, right? So... surely they didn't need to bring everybody out just to get these 2. Yeah, okay, well, while we're out there, we'll pick them up, whatever. Similar themes here to Alien. We have, in a very direct way, the company, essentially the CEO, top-down boss, working behind the scenes of the crew. Don't we? So was the idea that one of these balls glitched or seemed broken or something, but they're just not reporting the findings to Idris? Trying to keep everybody in the dark. We need more of the ooze containers. Maybe they hold the secret to life. Yeah, these are big guys, like 10 feet-ish. Makes you wonder, what's their deal? Do they die in a standing position? Oh, that platform, it looks kind of familiar. It looks like we're doing things that we've kind of done before. They weren't like this last time here. Yes, they were. They were already oozing. Your veins are turning blue and purple. Your eyes are red. It's not looking good. I'm trying to think here. Which one's Janek? It's Janek Idris. Not that the names matter all that much, to be honest. Yeah, I'm just going to come in here and push all the buttons. That's the button that gets the seat to turn around. Oddly flimsy, that seat. Is there some point to them needing to record what they're doing here? Oh, hey, so he's a DJ. He just plays the flute. Here's his mixer. Yep. This guy comes over here and says, "No, you don't not enough bass." All right, we're looking around in wonderment. Yep, there's the DJ's working his tracks, scratching the vinyls. Yep, that's showing us how they keep track of the stars and planets, and see if you see one that is familiar for you there, David. Oh my God, it's Earth. Is it possible that's how you choose a destination? Whichever ball you play with, that's the planet the ship is going to go to? Wow, there might be an engineer still alive. Maybe he's got the answers. slow, quiet heartbeat in brackets. Oh, do we have a quarantine order over here? You know, a lot of this plays out, the bones of Alien, clearly more visible than I really initially thought. You're not coming aboard there with a sick man. Yeah. Similar circumstances, only Ripley doesn't wield the flamethrower in protest. Instead, she just simply tells Ash not to let him in, and he disobeys. He's saying, do it. Go ahead and flame on. All right, well, now that we got him out of the way, I guess you guys can come aboard. Have you had intimate contact recently? Oh, yes, you did. She doesn't seem to understand how one becomes pregnant. No bloody way I'm 3 months pregnant. I don't think he said you're 3 months pregnant. Somehow she assumes that her pregnancy is not going to be human. There's a big assumption here. I mean, so you're thinking that this guy was sick with whatever, then got you pregnant, and that's why this is happening. The baby's going to have similar circumstances, and then I think that there's an element of body horror here that is kind of successfully done. The sort of it's not quite an abortion, but it's like a computer assisted C-section. Though she's guiding it herself, that's one of the better things about the movie. I think some people thought it was kind of laughable. Okay, silly that the med pod only works on males. Why would that be the case? Why would it only work on males? And yet it's in clearly not a male Charlize Theron's room. That tells you who it's really for. Her dad, Guy Pearce. But kind of brings about an interesting sequence that I don't think you've seen in anything similar in films before. And it does give you a bit of a gross humor, gross horror type aspect to it. And it's one of the more successful elements of the movie. Got to try to talk this thing through a C-section. Calibrated for males only. So she's going to coerce this thing into removing a foreign body. I don't think I've seen a similar scene in anything since Prometheus, for that matter. Yeah, can't you see it's a cancerous tumor? You got to remove it, machine. I think there's a big assumption that the patient is supposed to be sedated and unconscious during this. But I think that this scene kind of wins over a lot of the females in the crowd because they're like their weird relation by proxy. If you've given birth, if you've had a C-section, this can really weird you out. I think that's the concept here. And what is it? It's not a little chest burster. It is a squid. And then we kind of have a laugh because it's like, why is she giving birth to a squid? Man, she really knows how to work that med pod, doesn't she? That probably should have been it for the squid. It seems to be neutralized. And yet the next time we see it, it's a giant squid. Let's open the door before we even communicate and suss out what this is all about. Yeah, something came online and he's walking around all bent over. Yeah, this is normal behavior. Just have a closer look here. How did he stand up from that position? But he gets superhuman strength, even though he should be pretty well bruised up. The shiznit's hitting his fan. Now, being that I have not had a C-section, how mobile is one after some similar procedure? Probably not super capable of walking around. You need a lot of abdominal tissue and muscles aligned to stand up well, don't you? She's also highly sedated. All right, now we're going to run him over. Is that going to take care of it? And do we have a shotgun? Keep that handy for close encounters, right? You guys know the line. If she wasn't on enough painkillers, she just took the second dose. Which means she is now capable of understanding the plot and wandering in on the old guy and getting that whole speech. You don't have a super huge spaceship. This isn't the Enterprise. This isn't a Star Destroyer. You really wanted to run a mission where you had a guy aboard in secret with his own medical team. No reason for this to be secret. No reason for it to be Guy Pearce in terrible old man makeup and not acting like a successful portrayal of an elderly man. Could have just gotten an actual older guy. You convinced me these things made us, which then convinced me that they can save me from dying of being old as shit. Which, if we're keeping up on our Ridley Scott films, we know it doesn't work that way. The god of biomechanics keeps you out of heaven. We were so wrong. This guy's age as suggested here. It does not look like walking around condition to me. Is it possible that by the time we have the capability for interstellar travel outside our solar system, right, that we will have advancements in anti-aging and really have figured out the human genome and exploited all of its possibilities by then? We'd surely have smarter people aboard that ship that we then set out to go find the engineers in. Oh yeah, so we're going to take the shots, we're going to take the pills, and when I got this suit on, I'm good to go. It's a military installation. Yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, this guy's figured it out. Oh yeah, he wants to know what they have to say. Right? He doesn't care. I don't either. That's right. All I do is fly the ship. Why were you here? Maybe the pay was good. He's giving his preemptive, I'm going to get killed stopping this thing speech. I'm going to do whatever has to be done to stop that thing from coming back. Not bringing any of that aboard. So I guess we can assume that Vicar successfully convinced Idris she's not a robot. Now, on my mission over here to get eternal life, I do need a few treasure masks. Ancient African mask sort of stuff, Aztecian, whatever, with me. She seems to be really upset that this guy's lived so long that he denied her control of the company, possibly. A king has his reign and then he dies. It's the way things are supposed to be. Didn't think you had it in you. Oh my gosh. Doesn't everyone want their parents dead? What's wrong with his programming? I wonder if that buggy they're in is all electric. You know, we don't need to be leaving our carbon footprint on these alien planets, do we? Oh, it's not in the air that infected him. Oh, how do you know? Not going to say, but the audience knows. I did not get much butter on this batch of popcorn. I'm upset. Oh, well, that looks familiar to the audience, doesn't it? See, we run across one of these issues where the audience is so far ahead of the characters. It makes it easy to call a movie bad when the audience is so far ahead. It's not a trap you want to be in. You know, if you're a filmmaker, you don't want the sequel leaving characters largely trying to figure out things the audience already knows. I just downloaded Pro Tools, worked out the schematics on how to mix my own house music, and yeah, I poisoned him. He was a douche. Hard to say if this plan goes wrong or anticlimactic, or maybe both. Or just asinine. How the big guy wakes up, and what do you know? He looks just like the first big guy. They're so advanced, they all look alike. Huh? What are these humans doing here? The stuff in the cargo hold was meant for us. How do you get that conclusion? What could have possibly have told her that they have any animosity towards humans thus far? Tear the head off the android and beat the old man to death with it. That's how you do it. Man, is he a bad shot? Now, this dumbass, has the weirdest conclusion I've ever seen anyone leap to in a movie. The alien wakes up. I mean, we just barged in on this guy while he was sleeping, right? Invaded his house. He attacks back, right? Or he attacks before we do. And now you assume he's going to Earth to destroy all of humanity? Under some assumption that single ship could even do so. And that's why we have to stop him? That would be akin to a black gang breaks in my house. I wake up, fight them off, and then they say, hey, we have to stop Vaughn because he's going to go to Africa and kill all the black people. That's the kind of stupid logic skip they just come to here. This assumption that now... I mean, okay, so I'm awake. Maybe I'm going back to my planet. You know, what does she know? She jumps to so many... there has never been a character jumps to as many conclusions based on no evidence as stupid Dr. Shaw in this movie. Everything is some kind of weird assumption. Shit, she probably assumed that asshole guy loved her too. Well, here's what the whole movie's all about. Understanding that suit, that was a suit the engineers were in, the space jockey. That wasn't the space jockey. Simply a suit a human-like guy was wearing who happened to be 10 feet tall. Piloting a ship pretty much identical to the one found in Alien. On a planet that may as well have been the planet from Alien. Oh, but the stupidity hasn't stopped yet, guys. Alright, so somehow she has climbed up. In her condition, she has climbed up, largely unassisted in any way. I mean, we kind of Mary sued the bejesus out of this one, didn't we? The ship is taking off. You can't let it leave. Remember you promised you have to stop it. You don't stop it, there won't be any home to go back to. It's carrying death its head for Earth. Either she lied to him to make him sacrifice, or... I don't know. I don't see anything to suggest it was headed to Earth. Remember, you have a separate ship, you have a life module. We're going to do the heroic sacrifice. All due respect, we really don't want to hang out with Charlize Theron. How capable is her second ship? Like, one would think incredibly limited capabilities, like not able to leave an atmosphere. I mean, they said it was like a lifeboat. Like, maybe it can do as much as problem in space set you down on a planet gently enough. That was, I mean, life. You don't typically cross the Atlantic in a lifeboat. Okay, so she goes off in an escape pod to the lifeboat. So they have a lot of different ways to get off the ship, actually. And yet they're going to bungle that. What are you hanging on for? You're doing a suicide kamikaze collision with basically Firefly into a set of horns, and you're telling the crew to hang on? What good does hanging on do? Well, the good news is we're down to 2 humans left. Bad news is they can't seem to figure out how to run sideways. So now we have one of the dumbest shit of a sci-fi film, and sadly it pollutes the Alien saga. Oh, hey, this thing's crashing down. It's rolling on top of us. Let's just keep running instead of, I don't know, jog left slightly. We'd be out of the way. There you go. Okay. She couldn't figure out. Oh. Oh, but now it's going to turn. Can you avoid that? No, you're going to get super lucky and crouch next to a rock that'll save you. Oh yeah, coincidence. That's how you make an airtight screenplay, Damon Lindelof. Didn't even shatter her helmet. Her visor. Is it a helmet when it's on in this way? I'm not sure. Oh, what do you know? The lifeboat is intact. You know, going to have a hard time blowing an alien out of an airlock in this movie. I guess if Charlize Theron did get to the lifeboat, she probably would have succumbed to the squid. I mean, surely it would have surprised her, a giant squid in the room, right? how did this thing get the nourishment to become like I don't know, 20, 50, at least 15-foot squid monster? Yeah, I know that the chest burster doesn't do a whole lot of consuming to become the big chap. But this is to a whole nother scale. Well, yeah, of course our engineer survived. Quite a bit smaller all of a sudden, isn't he? I mean, these are not 10-foot corridors. 10-foot doorway he just went into, right? Gotta protect Mama. The maternal instinct. Actually, the squid creature is really just all tentacle. I mean, look, if this thing ate him, where would it go? There's like no big storage, stomach, brain area, none of that. Just, it's tentacle. Not enough stuff to grab you, more things to grab you. Man, I don't think she can trust David's head. Yeah, I know he doesn't have a body, he can't really do a whole lot to plot against you, but he could lead you astray, right? Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to hear, David. You'd think he needs some pretty amazing social skills to convince her to come pick him up. I was afraid you were dead. Oh, I'm sure you were. I know we've had our differences. Really, without him, you think your noggin here can operate the other ships aboard here? Not aboard, I mean, what, other ships buried? Only reason I came was to get the cross. This gets even crazier. I want to go to their home world. Yeah, that'll work out well for me. You just accused one of them of wanting to promote genocide on Earthlings. What's going to happen when you show up at their front door? They did not try to kill you. You're blaming all of them for the actions of one that you hostilely woke up and scared the bejesus out of. You want to change their minds? Good grief, this is stupid. You're right, you don't understand because it's dumb. Is that what we're going to do now in movies when things don't make sense? Have a character say they don't understand, and then the other one is just going to go, because that's what I want to do. And just when you think the stupidity is over, just you wait. New Year's Day, so this was 2094, huh? We got a lot of advancing we're going to have to do to try to make this movie a reality. That was a 6-day ordeal for him on the planet. And here we go with our ending stinger, right? Fortunately, before the credits. Oh yeah, lots of fade to black. Yeah, that's what we want. Edit our movie like a trailer. Why the thing that busts out of him is not quite a xenomorph? It's almost like they thought they didn't have the rights to the xenomorph design. So what are we supposed to get out of this? Like, again, may as well have been a xenomorph. Looks like something from Stranger Things, doesn't it? All right, well, what's it gonna eat? There you guys go. Prometheus. What did you think of this movie? As you could tell, I've got quite a bit of disdain for it. Should I come across Alien Covenant and give it a watch some way, it's probably going to cost me some money. I don't know. Anyhow, let me know what you think in the comments below. Till next time, adios.